Like I said, you would be crazy to not do it.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be?
Hello, welcome to another edition of Be Bold, a Prestige Living Podcast segment. I am Jay O'Brien, and today I want to go over the idea of how to positively impact someone's day. And I've said this before, but something that I try and think about all the time is that if you have the opportunity to make somebody's day, you'd be absolutely crazy not to. Now, think about it. We all have a story. We all have something that we're going through consistently at all times. In fact, recently I heard this analogy. I really liked it, saying that no matter what, everybody always has a pebble in their shoe. And if you think about it, it's true. There's always something lingering. There's always something bothering all of us. And sometimes it's something very minute, maybe it's an issue at work or something like that. And sometimes it's something very big, like a traumatic event. Maybe it's a family member passing away or something being terminally ill, or maybe losing a job, something that's very serious. But the point is, almost every single person that you come in contact with every single day is experiencing something that is negative, something that's bothering them, something that's really draining their energy, and you don't know about it. And we're so quick to judge, we're so quick to assume that we're the ones that are having the problems, maybe we're the victims or whatever, and we project things out to other people, whether we think we're doing it or not. And it can be as simple as the way your body is gesturing, the look on your face when you're walking by certain people, whether you said hello to them or not. Those little triggers can make someone's day or just keep it the exact same. And being a person that wants to positively impact other people, this is something that you should constantly be aware of and think, whether it's somebody that you're interacting with on a daily basis, like a coworker, or maybe it's a friend or a family member, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or what have you, to constantly be thinking that there's probably something weighing on this person's mind that has nothing to do with this immediate situation that is bothering them. And if there's anything that you could do to possibly get them to escape from that state of mind, even for a moment, that is very, very impactful. And usually it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot for us to do this sort of thing. One of the examples that I like to give is when you walk into a room, and this could be done every single day when you walk into your office or your work environment. When you walk in, smile. Think about it. Think about the difference that you're making when you walk in the door. It sounds corny, but it's not. If you walk in and you're smiling, every time you open a door, people are looking at you. People look to see who's just entered. And if you're in a rush, or you're on the phone, or you're looking down, or you're frowning, you are projecting that same energy on everyone who's receiving it. Everyone who is in that immediate proximity is feeling what you're putting out. If you walk in and you're smiling, you have just exerted that confidence and that joy, and has transcended onto everybody in your immediate surrounding. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it's 1,000% true. Try it out. Not only that, but when people see that, you become very likable in that moment. People gravitate to people who are smiling, people who are happy, and people who are projecting positive energy. If you can exert that, even if it's consciously, even if you have to think about doing it, if you're doing that on a daily basis and you're doing it consistently, you will be positively impacting the people around you. The second thing is addressing people by their name. And this is something that you got to get really good at, and you got to practice it a lot. But we all suffer from this, I'm sure, but the second you introduce yourself to somebody and you say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so," and they exchange their name in return, you immediately stopped listening. You automatically have forgotten their name. We all do it. We all know that this is a problem, and as a society, I think it's a struggle for everyone. But next time you're introduced, especially if you're introduced to a group of people, like 3 or 4 people that you don't know all at one time, make a conscious effort to memorize each person's name like your life depended on it. And for the next 2 minutes and 5 minutes and 10 minutes, constantly in your head, regurgitate that information. Oh yeah, that was so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. Okay. And constantly be embedding that in your brain all night long. Watch what happens when somebody comes into the group that's new and you introduce that person and you say, "Hi, this is so-and-so, 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 so-and-so," versus, oh, hi, this is my friend Jim, and then you make them do the introductions all over again, it will be highly impressive that you've remembered all of these individuals' names, and it will impact them. And, if you've ever read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie says that everyone's favorite word in the English dictionary is their own name. And it's 100% true. If you think about it, the last time you were introduced to somebody, and say you were at a bar or a party environment or any sort of social situation, when you left or that person left and they said goodbye, did they say, hey, nice meeting you, man. Hey, girl, it was great meeting you, blah, blah, blah. Did they use some sort of generic term? They probably did. But think about if they'd said, hey, it was great meeting you, Ashley. It was great meeting you, Jay, and used your first name when they left. It would actually trigger something. Think about it in your head right now as you're listening to this. If you met somebody and they called you by your first name and they were a complete stranger, it would trigger something in your brain where you would actually feel good because they used your first name. So one of the things I like to do is anytime a server comes up, for example, if I'm eating at a restaurant, they're going to introduce themselves in the very beginning. Remember their name like it's your job. Right when they say it, you got to remember that name. Right when a friend or somebody introduces you to one of their friends, an acquaintance, remember that person's name and make it a point to use it at least 2 to 3 times throughout that interaction for the rest of the night. If you do this with your servers, it will go a long way. Recently, I was out to a restaurant and the person came up, introduced himself, said, hey, my name's Kevin. I'll be your host today or your server today. I'll be taking care of you. Went throughout the whole thing. And when the whole meal was over, I'd been there for over an hour, and he said, hope everything was to your liking. Again, come back anytime. Great having you. And I said, hey, thanks a lot, Kevin. His face just dropped, and he immediately, by instinct, I guess, just shook my hand, almost like out of gratitude that I just triggered this emotion with him that he was not expecting, and most consumers that are coming through this environment probably don't address him by first name. Do this with everybody. It will be highly impactful, and again, it's another great way to get people to remember you and to positively impact someone else's day. The last thing is any sort of drive-through experience. We've seen this happen with Starbucks and a couple different places where you're encouraged to pay it forward, pay for the person behind you, right? This is another thing that it causes an unexpected gratitude for the recipient. And the reason for it is because it's one of those random acts of kindness that you don't expect from a stranger. So when somebody does it, you automatically feel like, whoa, I can't believe that people still do that, or that people ever did that. You feel this overwhelming gratitude, and now you want to pay it forward because you can't reciprocate to this one individual because they're long gone. You're doing it for somebody selflessly, and you won't ever receive the benefit of knowing how it impacted them, but just know that it did. And some people that I've talked to about this struggle with it because they're like, oh man, I totally would if I had the money, or I totally would if this or if that. The story is you can and you shouldn't use a cop-out. If you can't afford to pay for what you're paying for twice, you probably shouldn't pay for it once. And so I use that as an example for anyone who goes through a Starbucks drive-through. Just say you've got the person behind you. When you go up, you pay for them, you leave. That will positively impact that person behind you for the rest of the day. That sort of random act of kindness and that kind gesture that they've just received, now they not only has that resonated with them, but now as they're moving forward through the rest of their day, they will feel compelled to do it for somebody else, whether it's opening a door for them or paying for somebody else behind them throughout the day. But those are 3 easy things to inject in your daily life in order to positively impact someone's day. A couple other things, and this is not something that you would do on a daily basis, but something that you should take consideration to do. You're going to be in unique situations all the time that will allow you the opportunity to do something that you normally wouldn't for somebody else. I was at a diner maybe a month ago, for example, and the server just took such great pride in his job and was extremely personable, and you could just tell that there's so many people in his shoes that are getting paid minimum wage and getting $4 tips and just could totally be getting down on their situation, but instead this guy comes to work every day and is the best at his job, just takes such great pride in it. And our bill was like $25 or something, and I tipped him 100%, which you obviously don't need to do that. And that's now the meal that was $25 became $50. But the point is that something like that, $25 isn't going to make you go broke, but you just totally made that person's night because they were not expecting it at all. And there's plenty of ways you can do this, whether it's giving to the homeless or finding somebody in need or helping someone with something that they did not expect you to do. And any sort of selfless act that you normally wouldn't do that can positively impact someone's entire day, always, like I said, you would be crazy to not do it. So to recap, the 3 things to remember that you can do and you should do on a daily basis. Number 1, walk into each room with a smile. The second thing is address people by their first name. And the third is to pay it forward in any fashion you can throughout your daily life, whether that's in the Starbucks drive-thru or at lunch with your coworkers or whatever. And again, it doesn't have to be something monetary, but by doing these random acts of kindness and just keeping it embedded into your daily routine, you will be positively impacting other people's lives, and in turn, they will do the same for others. Again, thank you so much, and be bold.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living Podcast or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your story.